that. Make sure the lighting is okay. And salutations, nerds. It is November 20th, 2024, and today I want to go over a grouping of metrics that will hopefully keep me honest and consistent in the coming years, if for no better reason than to learn from my mistakes if my assessments now happen to be as incorrect as they were in 2016 and in 2024. I admittedly had more faith in my fellow Americans to pay more attention and have more respect for one another, but here we are. First, some housekeeping. I know that my previous episode was an intro into the small series that I'm doing titled Black History is American History. I just want to inform you all that I'm continuing that project, but since I want to inform less than editorialize in that space, I'm taking my time on it, and I'm going to assume those episodes are going to be somewhat longer than what I plan on creating for regular posts. So worry not, full steam ahead on that. But today we're talking about something a little different. So if you happen to enjoy this kind of content, make sure you like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. The most impactful aspect of the economy right now is the confidence in individual purchasing power. Prices seem to have remained high in the years following the pandemic everywhere, while wages have stagnated, which means while every other metric can be positive, consumers individually aren't feeling it. Groceries and everyday items are more expensive than they used to be, and this is a real issue causing some confusion about how this plays out, because one of the most important lessons I've learned was that economies are not dictated completely by the price of the goods that are being consumed. Well, you may have the impression that it doesn't matter. The impression of people who are responsible for those prices will continue to manipulate you into pointing your fingers at the wrong people. How are we supposed to get anywhere if you believe the arson when he tells you that the fire chief was the one who burned your house down? So why then are these prices so damn high? And what is the cause of this problem? Well, I'm super excited to pretend that you asked. Let's consider the following, as I'm going to provide some raw data with which to work. It's not going to be an opinionated thing, and you can form those opinions on your own afterward. I'll offer a little bit of my own. Gross domestic product, or GDP. First off, what is it? The GDP is the end result of a nation's final monetary value of goods and services that it has rendered over a specific time. This is usually measured in an amount of money in quarters. Those with the highest GDP made the most money. Simple. Currently, the United States has the highest gross domestic product at somewhere between $25.43 trillion and $27.3 trillion. The ideal range for a prosperous GDP, which measures growth, is considered to be between 2 and 3%. The United States is sitting at exactly 2.8% as of quarter 3, 2024. That means the current fiscal quarter that we are now fully up to date. That may actually make you wonder what actually helps drive GDP and why is it so high in the US? Which brings us to our next metric, jobs and employment. How do jobs stimulate GDP? Honestly, the answer is super simple, and you'll probably shake your head when I say it. When more people are employed, that means more people are earning a paycheck. Those who earn paychecks spend money and recirculate the money back into the economy, thus boosting the nation's GDP. So how are U.S. jobs looking as of today? Generally, economists have a range between 3% and 5% to be a reasonable number for an unemployment rate, which indicates an active employment rate of citizens to 95% or higher. As of November 11th, the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics measured out unemployment at 4.1%. These metrics alone indicate a powerhouse economy. As I mentioned in one of my previous videos, we currently have a locomotive economy and what some experts have called the envy of the world. So if everything under the hood is running like a well-oiled machine, let's see how those tires are spinning, shall we? What I mean by that is, how are all of these objectively incredible metrics working out in the real world? Well, they're not. At least, not for you and me. You see, corporations have been making record profits under Joe Biden's term as president. Quarter after quarter, the stock market has shot into the stratosphere, meaning companies, shareholders, and CEOs are making hand over fist. These 4 years have been a windfall for investors and, people making money. And now we're at that inevitable awkward point where I bet you're wondering, well, Dingleberry, why aren't I seeing that at the store? And you're completely right to ask that. You're not seeing the prices that you deserve to see as a consumer. Your concerns are valid, and I'm not going to disagree with you. The problem is, those profits that these companies are making aren't translating down to the workers. Nor are these large corporations changing their prices because they see that consumers are willing to take the financial hit without too much pushback. By all of the numbers that I've laid out, you're absolutely correct in assuming that you, as both a worker and consumer, seem to be getting the majority of the shaft on this deal. Because you are. COVID restrictions were lifted and supply chains were reestablished. Companies made no efforts to change the inflationary rates because either folks would bear the brunt of the extra cost, or they'd blame it on the wrong people. On top of that, any effort to raise the minimum wage is always met with incredible resistance, which would ultimately lead to raised wages. Lo and behold, though, voters all agreed that it was Joe Biden's fault, that prices are high, and they weren't seeing enough coming back into their pockets. This contributed to a number of reasons why the Democrats, while having demonstrated time and time again a remarkable stewardship of the United States economy, lost substantially in the voting booths across the board. So how does the economy look going forward from here? Well, I have two hypotheses. One, either Trump follows through with his disastrous plan to impose far-reaching tariffs across all imports and our economy takes a nosedive. You can learn more about tariffs on one of my previous videos, in which case it'll be interesting to see how a political party with complete control of both chambers and the executive branch blames anyone but themselves. Otherwise, someone will get it into his thick skull that his policies sound like batshit, and he should revise them, wherein he will continue what Biden was doing, rebrand it as his own, obviously, and gaslight his supporters into thinking that he alone is responsible for the glorious economic numbers he will merely inherit from his predecessor. Boy, does that sound unfamiliar with this man. In which case, I hope we all remember this video so we can replay these numbers when they inevitably try to festoon our global accomplishments to his name as dishonorably as he had John McCain's name covered up when he visited the Navy ship that was named after him. Oh, you forgot about that one? 2019, you should Google it. Anyways, thanks for sticking through this mess, because I completely get that economic metrics are most entertaining, but when you ignore the stats, you will undoubtedly make mistakes. So stay informed, stay engaged, and stay decent. Till next time.